DeLuca saw her, seconds before everything went wrong. The nightclub hid beneath an old warehouse at the port, behind 2 locked doors and 3 lies. Red light washed the low ceiling. Smoke and bodies thickened the air. Men drank, gambled, whispered about shipments and debts. Women laughed too loudly at jokes that weren't funny. This was not a place you found by accident. DeLuca moved through it like a shadow that owned the floor. Tall, sharply dressed, shoulders cut like stone beneath a tailored suit. Every glance slid off him or bowed. His men fanned out without being told. At the bar, near the exits, eyes on the dealers. The meeting tonight was supposed to be simple. Confirm routes, lock contracts, remind a few stupid men why owing DeLuca was a dangerous hobby. Then he saw her. At a cooler table near the VIP rail, she stood slightly behind 3 men he recognized, traffickers from out of town. Cheap cologne, expensive watches, arrogance smeared over everything they touched. And there she was, Lanita Cruz. Skin kissed by a warmer sun, long dark hair tumbling in loose waves, a black dress tracing the natural curves of her body without glitter or apology. A thin chain glimmered at her throat. Her heels weren't as tall as the others. She didn't play to the room. Her eyes were the only thing that didn't match the place. They were alive, proud, angry. One of the men grabbed her chin, forcing her face toward a drunk at the neighbouring table as if selling a car. Her jaw tightened, shoulders squaring like a fighter bracing for another round. She didn't look submissive. She looked trapped. DeLuca's gaze sharpened. "Who is she?" he murmured. His right-hand man leaned in. "Name's Lanita, from Bogota. Word is they dragged her in on a debt, planning to auction her off private after you're done talking business." The word auction lodged under his ribs like a blade. He'd seen this sort of filth before. DeLuca didn't deal flesh, not because he was good, but because some lines he refused to touch, even with bloody hands. He was here for weapons, ports, leverage. Instead, they'd laid a human being on the table like product. The trafficker caught DeLuca watching and smirked. He tugged Lanita forward. She stumbled a step, regained balance. "Boss DeLuca," the man called. "You like? We're opening bids later. For you we make special price." Lanita's stare flicked to DeLuca. Up close he saw more. Exhaustion in the soft skin beneath her eyes. A tiny scar near her lip. The way her hands were steady, even though her pulse beat fast at her throat. No pleading. No flirt. Just a silent question. "Are you another monster?" "I'm not for sale," she said quietly. Accented words razor sharp. The trafficker's fingers dug into her arm. "You talk too much." He raised his hand like he might teach her a lesson in front of everyone. He never got the chance. The tension snapped. DeLuca's men shifted. The air thinned. "Put your hand down," DeLuca said. The trafficker hesitated, drunk on power, not sensing the cliff. "Relax," he said, half laughing. "She's merchandise. You know how it is. Put it down." Silence spread from their table like a slow wave. The DJ kept playing. People kept dancing. But the nearest men were watching now. They knew that tone. They'd heard it right before someone didn't wake up again. The trafficker scowled. His ego, not his brain, picked the next move. He shoved Lanita aside and reached for the gun at his back. Everything constricted. DeLuca didn't raise his voice. Now, 3 of his men drew before the idiot cleared leather. There was no dramatic showdown, no screaming, Just one dull thud as a wrist hit the table. The gun clattered, and a second man, DeLuca's, had his weapon casually aimed centre mass. "You pull a gun on me in my house?" DeLuca asked. The trafficker swallowed. "It was a joke, DeLuca." Shut up." Lanita stood very still, watching the balance of power tilt like a scale in a storm. She had seen dangerous men before. But this was different. DeLuca wasn't loud. He wasn't theatrical. He was absolute. "How much?" DeLuca asked, softly, eyes on the trafficker. "To clear her debt." The man blinked. "What?" "You heard me. A number tumbled out. Too high. A test." DeLuca didn't haggle. He nodded once. His right-hand man peeled off a stack of bills and set it on the table like a verdict. "It's done," DeLuca said. "She's mine." Lanita stiffened. The trafficker reached for the money, greedy relief flashing. "And if anyone comes near her again," DeLuca added, "they don't walk out of this city." His men stepped in closer. The traffickers understood. Deal accepted. No argument worth dying for. Lanita whispered, "You can't just—" "Would you rather stay with them?" DeLuca asked. She glanced back. They were staring at her like a lost investment, like a debt still owed in flesh. Her stomach turned. "No." "Then walk." He didn't grab her. He didn't drag. He turned and moved through the crowd, his men opening a path. After a moment's hesitation, Lanita followed. That was when the second gun came out. Near the back exit, one of the trafficker's friends stepped from the shadows, fingers tight on a cheap pistol, fury sweat-shiny on his forehead. "You think you can take my property?" he snapped. DeLuca didn't answer. His nearest man nudged Lanita gently behind a column. Time compressed. The pistol rose. "Last chance," DeLuca said. The man cursed. He never fired. A single controlled shot from DeLuca's side cracked the air. The gunman dropped to his knees, weapon skidding. Not dead. Hit low. A warning with pain. The corridor swallowed the noise. The club swallowed the truth. No screams. Just a few heads turned, then turned away. In this world, they knew when not to see. "Pick him up," DeLuca ordered. "Patch him," then explained the rules. He looked at Lanita. Her breathing was fast, but her chin was lifted. He nodded toward the door. She walked through it. Outside, the night felt colder than it was. Lanita wrapped her arms around herself. "So that's it. You killed for me now. I prevented a problem. You paid for me," she said. "Yes." Her eyes narrowed. "So I'm still bought. For the moment, it means no one else can claim you." He opened the car door. She hesitated, the weight of one choice pressing down. Go back inside where they'd carve her up for disobedience, or get into a stranger's car, into a new cage painted in gold. She slid into the car. It felt like falling and surviving at the same time. DeLuca's penthouse rose above the port like judgment, glass and marble. City lights spread beneath it in fractured reflections. Inside, open spaces, expensive art, silver, stone. No clutter, no softness. Lanita stepped in, barefoot now, shoes in hand. "Is this where you keep what you buy?" "This is where I sleep." "And me?" she asked. "You get a room, clothes, food. No one touches you. No one calls for you. You answer to yourself. For now you are under my protection. Protection is just ownership with a nicer word." He didn't flinch. "You walked into the car." She held his gaze. "I walked away from something worse." "That doesn't make you good. I never said I was." A beat. He gestured down the hall. "Guest room. Lock works from the inside. If someone tries your door, he doesn't work for me anymore." He left her there. No threats, no promises. It confused her more than cruelty would have. Days blurred into an uneasy pattern. Lanita explored but never passed his guards. The elevator was watched, the doors secure. She discovered the library, ran her fingers along spines of books in Italian and Spanish, read for hours, losing herself in other people's worlds when her own felt stolen. Luca watched her without hovering. At breakfast, she'd sit with coffee, curls messy, eyes sharp. He'd come in late, phone pressed to his ear, words calm and lethal about shipments, docks, numbers. He never discussed her. He never asked her anything more personal than, "Did you eat?" One evening she stood by the glass wall, looking at the city glowing beneath. He came up quietly. "You're not eating." She didn't turn. "I'm not your decoration. You don't have to check I'm in good condition. If I wanted decoration, I'd buy art. You're not art." She turned, anger flashing. "Then what am I, Luca?" He held her gaze. "The mistake," he said. "You should never have been in that club." Her voice trembled, but not from fear. "But I was. And you opened your wallet. Just like them." He had no answer that made him less guilty. "My mother thinks I disappeared. My sister thinks I'm dead. I am missing Luca. Safe or not, I'm a ghost in their lives. You're alive. That is the lowest bar for mercy." She walked away. He let her. That night he didn't sleep. He sat alone in his office, city lights crawling up the glass, old ghosts crowding the room, his father's hands bloody, his mother's silence, the promises he'd made as a boy, never to be weak, never to be used. Somewhere it had twisted. Strength had become cruelty dressed as necessity. He thought of Lanita calling him another cage, eyes bright with anger and something like hurt. By morning, a decision had hardened. The next day passed quietly. She read. He worked. Shadows shifted. It wasn't until evening that he called her to the balcony. She stepped out cautiously, wind teasing her hair, the city a sea of flickering constellations below. He stood with his sleeves rolled up, tie gone, scar down his arm, faint in the dim light. For once he didn't look like a legend. He looked like a tired man holding something heavy. "What do you want?" she asked. "To return something that isn't mine." Her brow knit. He pulled an envelope from his pocket. "Your documents. Real ones. Your record cleaned. Debts erased. Ticket to Bogota. Information about your family. They're alive. They're looking for you." Her breath hitched. She took the envelope with shaking hands, opening it just enough to see her name, her photo, the ticket. Soft, disbelieving. "You did this, low." "I have men. They owe me favours. Wasn't difficult." "Why?" He looked away, jaw tight. "Low, honest. Because keeping you like this makes me the kind of man I swore to put in the ground. You were never meant to pay for other people's sins. I don't want your fear. I don't want your debt. This ends now. Even if you want to go, a car will take you in the morning. No one will follow. No one will touch your family. You vanish from this world. Clean." The word go slid into her bones like ice. Lanita stared at the papers. Freedom. The thing she'd prayed for, cursed for, soft. "So now you grow a conscience. Quiet. Don't call it that. Call it clarity." She studied him. This was not a performance. He wasn't good at pretending regret. Soft. "What happens if I leave?" Low. "I let you. I don't come after you. Ever." "And if I stay?" she asked, voice barely a whisper. He stilled. "Careful. If you stay, it's your choice. You're not mine. I don't touch you unless you ask. I don't hide you. You walk beside me, or you walk away from me. Not behind." Silence stretched. The city hummed below like a thing far away. Her eyes glossed with tears she refused to let fall, soft, shaking. "You can't buy me." "Then fix the papers. Then think I love you makes it all pure, Luca." He flinched, just once, low, bare. "I haven't said it." but it's there. Every time I look at you and feel this. Fear, not for me, for you. For what my world does to anything fragile and real inside it. He took a slow step forward. Lo, I am in love with you. The words weren't pretty. They were heavy. Lanita's fingers tightened on the envelope, soft, stunned. You don't love. Men like you don't love. I didn't, he said, quiet, until I saw you refuse to break in that red room. Until you walked across my floors like they didn't own you. Until your anger mattered more than my pride. He swallowed, eyes locked on hers. Lo, love is the only reason I would give you back the power to destroy me by leaving. The balcony felt smaller. Lanita's heart hammered, soft, honest. I tried to hate you. You are blood and threat and everything that turned my life into a bargain I never agreed to. She stepped closer. Soft, but you lifted their hands off me. You pulled me from there. You could have chained me, and instead you put freedom in my hands. Her voice cracked. Somewhere in between. I started waiting for your footsteps, listening for your voice, wondering if you were safe, and I hate that. Because it means... She stopped. He waited. Very soft. It means I love you. The admission was a wound and a balm. DeLuca's breath left him. Hoarse. Say it again. Her chin lifted. Steadier. I love you. He moved then. Slow. Measured. Every step asked a question. He stopped half an arm's length away. Low. Reverent. Tell me to stop. And I stop. She searched his face. The hardened edges. The regret in his eyes. The man who'd spilled blood and now offered himself unarmed. Her hand rose. Fingers brushing the front of his shirt. Feeling the rapid heartbeat beneath. I'm not telling you to stop. He lifted his hand, slow enough for her to refuse, and touched her cheek with careful fingers. No claim. Just contact. No music. No sound but their breathing. He bent his forehead to hers, giving her endless seconds to move away. She didn't. Their lips met, in a slow, dark, gentle kiss. Not rushed. Not rough, a vow more than a hunger. She answered with her own unhurried pressure, her fingers curling lightly at his collar, not as possession, but as choice. When they parted, they stayed close, foreheads resting together, sharing the same fragile space. Low, rough, you're still free in the morning. Ticket stands. If you wake up and wish this never happened, you walk. I won't follow. You owe me nothing. Lanita drew a steady breath. She looked down at the envelope once more, then back at him, firm. If I stay, it's not because you bought me, it's because I choose you. And if I choose you, DeLuca, you don't get to be the monster anymore. A faint, real smile touched his mouth. Lo. Then I start changing now. She slid her hand fully into his. Soft, final. Then we start together. Two silhouettes against the glass. A Latin woman carved from fire and survival, and an Italian king of shadows trying, at last, to step into the light. Not redeemed by a kiss, not forgiven by a confession, but starting something dangerous and fragile. A love fierce enough to make a man like DeLuca fear losing it, more than he feared losing his throne.